It's 1 o'clock on the East Coast. We're live once again at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. It's time to set the field for the third race of the year, the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Ready to go, qualifying in Sin City. And the weather, outstanding, 73 degrees. Maybe just a hint of a cloud in the distance, but no doubt about it. Lots of blue skies, and we are ready to roll. It's race day in Vegas with Michael Waltrip, Larry McReynolds. I'm Adam Alexander. So I'm thinking about qualifying. Drivers always want to start up front. But with this new format in 2017, qualifying more important than ever, Michael?
Yeah, these guys are going to be on the chip. I mean, you've got to go from the beginning. We've got a couple of sprints to those first and second stages, just 45 laps. So you're going to see a lot of intense action. Guys really getting on the gas hard, trying to get those points, those precious playoff points that are available as well. So what it means, if you're the driver, you know your job. Go as fast as you can. If you're the crew chief, you better come up with a plan to get me up front at lap 45 and lap 90.
A mixed bag yesterday in practice. Who have you got your eye on, Larry?
Yeah, you know, we were kind of questioning in Atlanta about, okay, how about Joe Gibbs Racing? Yeah, I know Kyle Busch won the race, but by no means did he dominate that race, and we did not see a lot of speed even in qualifying. But we're here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Remember, last year they finished 1, 2, 3 with Kyle Busch winning the race. I've got to believe probably the pole is going to come from that stable of Joe Gibbs Racing.
How many laps did he lead here in this race a year ago?
199 of 200. Dadgum, why couldn't he lead that other lap?
What went wrong? Let's go down to pit road and hear from Chris Neville.
Well, Adam, last 16 times we've been at the mile-and-a-half tracks, Joe Gibbs Racing has won the pole 14 of those times. And Matt Tifft was second quick in final practice yesterday. Matt, why is Joe Gibbs Racing so strong in the mile-and-a-halfs?
You know, I think we just put so much emphasis on those tracks. I mean, most of our schedule comprises of some of the mile-and-a-half, so, you know, we got to make sure we're quick there. We have fast cars everywhere, but we've definitely hit a knack, and, you know, having the guys like Kyle Busch as a teammate to learn off of, you know, just makes our team, you know, as an organization better. So, really cool to be out on the West Coast swing. We got surface sunscreen out here. Trust me, I'm really needing it this next 3 weeks to be wearing sunscreen because I've been hiding in the winter for a long time. So, we're looking forward to it. I love coming out here to Vegas, so hopefully it's going to be a good one today.
Yeah, the temps are finally coming up a little bit right now, but one thing different than yesterday is we've got a little bit of a breeze going down into turn 1. How is that going to change things?
Yeah, sometimes here it can definitely affect it either coming off of turn 2 or turn 4, whether it's going to make the car push or get a little bit free coming off the corner. So definitely have to watch out for that a little bit. I know the trucks last year, that would play a factor sometimes. So hopefully in a qualifying lap it doesn't play too much against our favor. Hopefully it's pushing us the right way.
Good luck.
Chris mentions the wind. I was walking through the garage, and that's the first thing I thought about. A little bit of a breeze. What role could that play in qualifying?
What was the deal? Was it blowing your hair?
Hey, easy now, easy. My hair looks fine today. Gorgeous Saturday morning in Las Vegas, Nevada. And race fans, remember, follow Toyota Racing on Twitter. Great content and conversation. As always, use the hashtag NASCAR Goes West. And the conversation presented by Toyota. 2 races into 2017 as we get set for our third opportunity on track later today. We give you the point standings. Elliott Sadler leading the way. Got some playoff points with those stage wins down at Daytona. William Byron, his rookie teammate, 3 points behind. And Ryan Reed, highlighted in yellow, the only driver to lock himself into the playoffs. Got that season opening victory at Daytona International Speedway. Let's go back downstairs as we anticipate qualifying.
And Elliott Sadler obviously having a good year. And, you know, looking back at the mile-and-a-half tracks, you've got some great stats over the last 12 months. But yesterday, the junior motorsports cars just didn't seem to have good speed. You guys still searching for something?
We are. I mean, the guys, we changed a lot yesterday and working on a lot of stuff, too. Not only learning for this week, but also down the road. I mean, there's been a lot of rule changes to our cars compared to last time we were on a, mile-and-a-half last year. So, you know, as a company, as a team, we're just searching, looking, found a little bit of speed yesterday, made some good changes. We feel like last night to this One Main Financial Chevrolet, and, you know, we'll go after it again today. Racing's always a little bit different than practice. It's definitely hotter today, less cloud cover. Track's going to be a little different. Hopefully we made the right adjustments for that.
Yeah, lots of changes to these cars and a new tire this weekend. Matt?
Exciting win at Daytona for Ryan Reed. When you're looking at quality, we just lost the gloves. They've rolled up. Hopefully that's the worst thing you're going to see all day.
Yeah, man. Well, yesterday was so much fun. We had a great car in practice. Our Ford Mustang was really rolling. So, you know, I feel like Atlanta, you know, we were okay, but the piece that we brought here, I think, is for us making a statement. You know, a lot of the hard work. You know, Daytona's Daytona. It's so great to get a win and get locked in the chase, but now I feel like we're really starting to show all the hard work that got put in over the offseason. So ready to get qualifying going. Watched Cup qualifying on Xfinity X1 app, and felt like I learned some stuff. So I might try and move around a little bit, see if I can play around with the bumps. But just excited. Really exciting season so far, and just having a lot of fun.
Good luck.
Thanks.
And Jack Roush, the all-time wins leader at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Perhaps today Ryan Reed or Darrell Wallace Jr. could add to his resume. And this guy, he has quite a resume himself.
Interesting.
Just about time to put the green flag in the air for qualifying. It's the NASCAR Xfinity Series live at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. 43 cars are here. 3 will go home. In the opening round, we're watching 2 things. The top 33 that will lock in on speed. The 24 that will advance to round 2. The opening round, 20 minutes. Round 2 is 10 minutes. And the final round, a dozen cars running for the pole will put 5 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, I would anticipate that a lot of cars would jump out there quickly because this track is only going to heat up. But then we also, like at Atlanta last week, they may be wanting to see what kind of speed, what kind of grip the track has.
Yeah, because, Larry, there's some of these top teams that can go out and give it about 90% in this first round, maybe save a little bit of tires, don't put it all on the table here. But they need to know sort of a gauge, a baseline of what kind of times are going to go on the board. So it'll be interesting to see if anybody really takes a chance and don't try to run their car as hard as they can in this first round.
Ryan Reed out there, his teammate Bubba Wallace in the 6, who was pretty quick yesterday. He'll be able to get information from this 16 car about what type of grip the track has.
Just want to be in the top 24 to move on to that second round. Ryan Reed, the first one to go by the start-finish line. And on the clock. Whoa. That was a wiggle, wasn't it?
Oh, he about dumped her. That thing really got down on the track. We saw a lot of sparks bottoming out, and it shot him up the hill. We talked earlier, or we talked yesterday about how bumpy turns 1 and 2 are, and you could see the result of those bumps there. That was a moment for that kid.
And we had 2 practices yesterday. Most everyone's quick speed came from final practice. Ryan ran a 29.83 in final practice, so he's actually a little slower with that lap right there.
Fastest time we saw in practice yesterday by Brendan Gaughan. It was a 29.57. Brandon Jones jumps in front of Reed. A 29.92 for the second-year driver out of Atlanta, Georgia. And there you see Jeff Green in the 8 car. First ever winner in the Xfinity Series here at Las Vegas. Came back in 1997. Green, the 2000 champion, and is currently 3rd of the 3 drivers that have hit the track.
Owensboro, Kentucky's Jeff Green, an uneventful lap, but
this was not uneventful.
Ryan Reed, see it hitting the road there and watch the result. Back end jumps around on him, and that's a pretty good lap, Larry, considering all that. You know what? That hurt him not only in turns 1 and 2, but all the way down the back straightaway. He was just laboring to get down to the end of the back stretch because of that bobble in turn 2.
4/100ths of a second behind Brandon Jones, who is currently quick. Look at Ryan Sieg in the 39 out of Tucker, Georgia. This race team not off to the start they would like. Talking to crew chief Cowboy Kevin Starlin this morning in the garage, said we really are working hard. And, you know, this NASCAR Goes West thing presents a lot of challenges for these teams because there's so much work that has to go on away from home. They've got 4 full-time employees who are staying out here on the West Coast to work on these race cars. Sieg is 3rd right now.
That means a lot of work in hotel parking lots, too, over the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, where's the nearest Walmart, right? J.J. Yaley now the quickest to 29.74. Great for him.
Yeah, that's an awesome lap for J.J. You see Joey Gase. Great run down in Daytona for this kid. Talked to Jimmy Means in the garage area yesterday, and he was explaining to me their West Coast plan and how many people they were going to leave out here and how many people were going to go home. And he said, but there's only 4 of us, so there's not a whole lot of choices we have. There's work to be done at the shop. We got to get back there and get the cars ready.
Gase goes to 5th. Here's Matt Tifft tracking in the green, easily up to the top. A 29.58. Strong lap for Tifft, who's going for Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, he was 4th quickest overall yesterday, and that's just a little bit quicker than what he ran in that final practice.
This guy needs something good to happen. 30th and 30th in the first 2 races of the year for Justin Allgaier.
I can't imagine. I mean, I've done it, so I know what it's like, but can you imagine first thing in the morning, get out and go make a qualifying lap. I mean, they're committed when they get down into turn one. You have to be committed to go in that corner wide open, nearly 190 miles an hour, and not knowing how it's going to stick.
Because you have to do it. You really need to do it in just one lap.
It's crazy.
Third for Justin Allgaier, 29.78. Here's William Byron, the new fastest man on the track, just a smidge in front of Matt Tifft, 29.568 for the rookie out of Charlotte. As we look at the 24 of Drew Herring driving that second entry for JGL. Had two different drivers so far this year. Both did a nice job. Scott Lagasse Jr., top 10 at Daytona. Corey LaJoie, 16th last week at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And Herring is 5th of the 11 drivers that have been out so far.
Yeah, William Byron, a lot like Matt Tifft, picked up about a half a tenth from his fast lap from yesterday.
This is a good lap, Michael, for Hemrick.
Yeah, he's getting it done. Look at him drop off the road there. That's just to make the track shorter. Of course, trying to cut off every 100th of a second that you possibly can.
Hemrick, a runner-up in the truck race here last fall, is now fastest. Jumped up in front of William Byron by 3/100ths of a second. Suarez in the red. Little surprised at that. Gaining on it coming off of turn 4.
One little sidebar story about this 20 car. You pick your pits in the Xfinity Series by where you qualified the previous week. So they're picking their pits by how they qualified at Atlanta. They lose their pit selection with this 20 car here today because of some inspection issues last week at Atlanta.
Ty Dillon to the top of the board in that 3 car.
He has a pole to his credit here. His RCR car showing some speed early in qualifying after struggling a bit to find it yesterday in practice. Don't know exactly what their agenda might have been. Right now it's Ty Dillon, Daniel Hemrick, William Byron, Daniel Suarez, Matt Tifft, the top 5. As we go on board with Joey Logano, and this lap going to be fast.
See that time just gaining on it down the back straightaway? What a great turns 1 and 2 he had. He was able to get to the gas, no bobbles, and that just picked up his speed all the way down.
Maybe lost just a little in 3 and 4, but he's going to go back to being north of a 1/10 of a second faster than Ty Dillon. 29.41 for Joey Logano.
That's a pickup of 2/10 from what he ran, and he was the fastest overall yesterday from those 2 practices.
Morgan Shepherd making a run here in his 89 car. He's the slowest so far of the cars that have made an attempt. Michael Annett racing down the backside. He had a struggle yesterday, Adam. Not a lot of speed for Annett in this 5 car.
Yeah, he's out of Iowa, was in the Xfinity Series, spent some time running a truck, went to NASCAR's top level, now back driving an Xfinity car for Dale Earnhardt Jr., and that lap for him puts him 15th of now 20 cars that have gone out. See the 99 of David Starr. He had a little bobble over there in 3.
You'll never see David Starr without a smile on his face, but I bet it wasn't smiling there.
No, not at all.
How to get your attention? You can see it hurt his lap time as well.
He's 18th. Didn't mention Blake Cook, who's inside the top 10, 9th right now.
Talked about Darrell Wallace Jr. Good start for Darrell Wallace this year. You know, good 6th place finish. We're going to actually talk about him on our Xfinity Race Day show coming up. I think it's at 12:30 Eastern time or 12:30 local time. Feel like he's in his 3rd full-time season. Needs to win a race this year. And probably nobody knows that more than Bubba Wallace does.
Well, and you could see there his car is bottoming out just like his teammate Ryan Reed. Remember how hard it hit the track? We saw the same thing with Wallace. I know those teams share a lot of information, so they're both facing some challenges there.
Wallace 7th, his teammate Ryan Reed down in 14th. As we look at the guy that comes in leading the championship standings. Elliott Sadler, 41 years old, out of Emporia, Virginia. Just a fun guy to be around. Spent a lot of time in the offseason coaching his kids on the basketball court. Played a lot of basketball, baseball himself. Fun time of year for him as he's a big college basketball fan. We'll see what he can do here coming back to the line. 13th, not quite as much speed in that 1 car as we would have expected.
Not the case with this 22 car. 28.99. He beats his teammate by over 4/10 of a second.
Wow. And that's going to be good enough for our track record. The old track record, a 29-12, set by Brad Keselowski here in 2010, I believe it was, and Brad Keselowski able to put it to the top here.
And just remember, with this format, a track record can come from any of the rounds. It doesn't have to be necessarily in that final round.
And I know racers, and I guarantee you Joey Logano said he did what? He ran 4/10 faster than I did?
Well, they probably told him he ran at 99. He said, but why'd he slow down so much? Oh, 28.99.
But, hey, you know what we need to do? We need to give a lot of credit to that 22 team and Greg Irwin, Brian Wilson, that entire bunch of Team Penske. They struggled last year, and they were frustrated and did not know how to get back to where they needed to be. It's good to see them finding some speed. Saw the 90 of Martin Waugh on track. 22nd is where he is. Garrett Smithley made a run. He's 23rd. Joey Gase on the bubble. 24th right now as far as those drivers trying to move from round 1 to round 2. Brad Keselowski at the top with his teammate Joey Logano right behind him, on board with Kyle Larson, who likely will be a player later today.
Yeah, you saw that Martin Waugh, and he and Jeremy Clements in the 51 car, they looked like they were out there in race trim practice, but Jeremy in the 51 still a decent lap at a 30 flat, 30.02.
Cole Custer has gone inside the top 12. Kyle Larson went to 3rd. Brennan Poole, his teammate, 11th. It looks like both the drivers from Chip Ganassi Racing will be able to advance from round 1 to round 2 fairly easily.
We're about halfway through, a little over halfway through this first round. We've had 33 drivers take a time.
28 of Dakota Armstrong, who comes into this weekend's race, 6th in the points. Really nice effort for this team in the season opener a couple of weeks ago at Daytona. Dakota Armstrong across the line, not a bad effort for him. He's 13th, 29.74, and Brendan Gaughan, a lot of speed yesterday. The RCR cars not bad so far today, but the 62 still with some work to do down there, Matt Yoakum.
Sense of urgency here with the 62 camp. They were having issues getting the car through inspection at the grid area. The templates, they had to do some work to get it to meet the specifications. Now they're putting in the roof rails. Brendan already has his head and neck restraint system on. He's climbing behind the wheel. Everyone trying to do their job to quickly get this car out, which was the fastest car in practice yesterday. How many minutes are left here in this round?
Just under 9, Matt. So they have a lot of time to go out and make a run, but you want to make that run as soon as you can so you have some time for those tires to cool down. A couple of guys we got to pay off, and the main one is Austin Dillon, Brendan's teammate. He made his qualifying effort. He's currently 4th. 37 drivers have been out there so far.
Yeah, I mean, they've got time talking about Brendan Gaughan, Shane Wilson, that 62 car, but you just see that sense of urgency, that little bit of scrambling, even Brendan scrambling to get in the race car, and that run's going to come very late in this first round.
Yeah, but, you know, when you have the experience that Brendan Gaughan has, he's seen this before. It's still stressful as a driver. You want to be able to be relaxed and calm and think about the task at hand. He'll just get simply into his race mode, his qualifying mindset, and go do the job. If they make it on the track, I expect him to advance, but like you said, Larry, it'll hurt him in the next round a little bit.
2 Gibbs cars have made qualifying efforts here in round 1. Daniel Suarez is 8th. Matt Tifft is 9th. Here comes the guy that led the way in final practice. That would be Kyle Busch, fast race car.
Loose. A little bit sideways entering there, and you can see how that's hurting his speed down the back straightaway.
Yeah, working with an interim crew chief, Matt Lucas. Scott Graves suspended for 1 week after the post-race infraction after Atlanta last week. But Matt actually worked with Kyle as an engineer for a couple of years.
He's won a couple of races in the Xfinity Series with Matt Kenseth driving. The lap for Kyle Busch, good enough to put him 7th. Easily will move on from our opening round to the second 24 there.
And Kyle will report back to the crew. He was loose getting into turn 1. So don't be surprised with an adjustment and that next round that Kyle doesn't wind up at the top of the speed charts yet. But a year ago, we saw these Gibbs cars be so dominant in qualifying on the mile-and-a-half and racing as well. But I noticed at Atlanta, and we've talked about this, Larry, they don't have that couple of tenths in the bank that it appeared they had a year ago. It's really competitive in the Xfinity Series this year.
Kyle Busch has won the pole in his last 8 starts at mile-and-a-half tracks in the Xfinity Series. I mean, this kid brings it every week when it comes to this style of track.
You know, we were talking at the top of the show about Joe Gibbs Racing, and, you know, I don't think it's a big surprise that the two Team Penske Ford drivers are 1-2. But a group that has definitely come to life today, we didn't see this yesterday, is a big portion of Richard Childress Racing. Right now, they are 4th, 5th, and 6th. Probably more surprisingly, Austin Dillon, who really they were searching yesterday. Of course, he dominated this race a couple of years ago from the pole.
I tried to tell you about him. You know?
I know you did. You told me to go down there and put a wager.
Ryan Sieg had dropped outside the top 24. He wouldn't advance right now, and you saw that most recent effort not good enough to get him in our top 24. So he stays as one of the cars that would not advance, and now we're tracking against the guy that's on the bubble, Jeremy Clements, in that 24th position. Ross Chastain going to miss it by a 10th. As we look at Brandon Jones in that 33. Currently 22nd. A little insurance run for him with 5.5 minutes to go in round 1.
Yeah, they got to top counting the cars that were left that thought they could knock them out and decided they better go put a better time on the board. That's the goal here.
Because unlike Atlanta, we saw yesterday and even heard some drivers comment, a little bit of heat in the tires was not a bad thing that you can go out there and maybe pick up. We saw it in Cup qualifying last night.
We watched Ryan Reed in that 16 car leave the pit earlier when he made his run. His car really bottomed out. It'd be interesting to see how they're able to affect that.
He's tracking in the green. Already in the top 24 is Brandon Jones, but 0.3 of a second to good over the bubble. This is really going to help him out. He jumps to 11th and no doubt is going to move on to the second round. And you look at Ryan Reed, who's 23rd, and we'll see what kind of pickup he makes here as he heads back to the start-finish line.
You didn't see the sparks. The team, maybe what they do, Larry, up the air pressure maybe just a little bit.
That's about all you really can do, yes.
So Ryan Reed was in his get up to speed lap. He'll come around this time and try to improve on that 23rd place run as Brendan Gaughan heads out for his first opportunity.
If I was Shane Wilson, I'd probably just say, Brendan, stop at the end of pit road and just take a couple of deep breaths, and then we'll go. Then we'll make this run.
Reed up to 11th, so he improves his time as the clock goes toward 4 minutes.
Now, Brendan may tell Shane, no, you take a couple of deep breaths. I'm going to go make this qualifying.
I haven't had any issues this morning. You guys have. I'm ready to go.
Michael Annett back on track, Mike.
Yeah, that was a struggle the first go around for the 5 car. Let's see if he's able to pick it up. We saw some nice improvement from Ryan Reed all the way up to 11th fastest. It's just not going to work for Annett.
Clement stays on the bubble. The problem is Brendan Gaughan going out there, and we know what kind of speed that race car has based on what we saw in practice yesterday. So I would say Clements might be thinking about heading back out and trying to jump back in should Gaughan knock him out.
And that could spell trouble for Elliott Sadler. Sadler's down in 23rd. Wasn't too happy with his car yesterday.
Brendan down in 1 and 2, up about a car lane and a half off the bottom, running above those bumps we spoke so much about.
Well, I think that's just confidence after watching the Monster Energy cars this morning run around the middle to the top of the track. They know there's grip up there and didn't hesitate to go to the middle of the road. I like this.
And he ran the bottom pretty much in 3 and 4, not near as many bumps down there. This should be a good run for Brendan Gaughan. 13th quickest, so he will advance on to round 2.
Puts Elliott Sadler, as you mentioned, Michael, on the bubble now. The guy that comes in with the series points lead. A few cars on track with 2 minutes, 40 seconds to go in this first round of qualifying. And all the cars that are out there now outside the top 24 and just trying to jump back in. If you're Elliott Sadler, do you just sit and wait, or do you go out and make an insurance run based on what you see happening here on track?
I think you sit and wait.
Well, I may go to the end of pit road, and I may wait. We saw yesterday in Cup, A.J. Allmendinger, you need to leave pit road somewhere around 45 seconds to be able to start that lap. So I think you at least maybe want to be in position.
And to talk about that, Larry, the 24 car, Drew Herring, he's the next guy. He's 23rd. He did go to the end of pit road, so he's setting on go in case somebody, a couple of cars go faster. But he's pulling out. I don't.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with going ahead and making the run. I mean, we still have just under 2 minutes. He could have sat there a little bit longer.
I agree. I don't like that strategy.
because now you're really, you're getting more heat in the tires, but you're heating everything up, engine included, and not as much cool down time between the next two rounds.
Yeah, you take yourself out of the game a little bit for that second round. We'll take a short break between round 1 and round 2 before that second 10-minute session. Blake Koch driving down toward the end of pit road. He's 19th right now. A lot would really have to transpire to put him on the outside.
Yeah, we're closing in on a minute to go, and we've got 3 or 4 drivers out on the racetrack, so Blake Koch, he's in good shape. No need to even go down there.
Well, I thought the same thing about Drew Herring.
Let's see, he ran a 29.80 earlier, so let's see what he can run here to complete this second run.
Ross Chastain is currently 26th. He just left pit road. About 55 seconds on the clock when he took off, so he should be able to get back around to the start-finish line and start his lap, and he needs to pick up some time if he's going to jump into the top 24. And there goes Elliott Sadler. He's going to try to get back around here, and I'm not sure he's got enough time.
It's going to be borderline. I saw Spencer Gallagher pull down there. That's all for naught, because you're not going to get run. We're down to about 25 seconds. So I'm sure they're talking to Elliott Sadler on the radio.
Justin Allgaier's down there, Blake Koch, Spencer Gallagher, but they're not going to make it. We just saw Ross Chastain get by the start-finish line, but he backed out of it, so he's just going to go on and start in the 26th position. And the one of Elliott Sadler also out of the gas. He will advance and stay in that final transfer spot.
I think Kevin Mendering jumped on that radio in a hurry to Elliott and said, let's go ahead and back it down. No need to make this run.
And it'll be interesting to see what Drew Herring does in the second round. Now that he's solidly in the first, he's got that extra lap on his tires.
So the opening round of qualifying is complete. Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano, Kyle Larson, and the Dillon brothers, your top 5 from here at Las Vegas. Opening round of qualifying is complete for the NASCAR Xfinity Series here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And if I had told you before this began that there wouldn't be a Gibbs car in the top 5, you wouldn't have believed me. No chance, right?
Absolutely not, and I do think that will change as we move on through this qualifying.
Here are the drivers that did not advance. First one on the outside looking in, Jeremy Clements, who spent a lot of time on the bubble, and the guys highlighted in yellow, the ones that will go home and not compete later today. Let's go down to the pit lane and hear from Chris Neville.
Yeah, and Ty Dillon, very comfortable in that first round, 5th quick out there. Do you have 2 more of those in you?
I think so. Our next Sim 24 Chevy was pretty solid right there. Didn't over push it. It is the first round. I felt like we'd be pretty solid. So we'll see. We got these next 2 rounds. That's kind of where we struggled a little bit is maintaining that speed. So hopefully we'll keep it in our car. And I know it's going to race really well. We got a lot to go to get to the 2 Penske cars there. But we'll keep working, and then we'll race against some good, too.
Thanks, Ty. Matt?
Chris, Michael Annett, one of the drivers not advancing to the next round. When you look back to your qualifying effort in this round, what was the biggest challenge?
It's just the same thing we fought all day yesterday. And I think everybody is. The bumps down there in 1 and 2, and like I was telling you, you have to keep these things wound up so much, especially in qualifying. I mean, when you're half the field's wide open and you're coming back to 50% throttle to get through them. Down there, it just kills your whole backstretch momentum. So we'll make it better. Our teammate, the 9, really isn't struggling too bad. So we're going to keep trying to go in the direction that they are, and hopefully that'll help us move forward here this afternoon.
What are the advantages of having a teammate?
Michael Annett going to start 28th later today. Mentioned William Byron in the 9, 8th quick in that opening round. We're back at Las Vegas, and perfect timing as the green flag goes in the air. Round 2 is underway. Brad Keselowski went under 29 seconds in that opening round of qualifying. He has established a new track record here at Las Vegas, and we'll see what happens in round 2. It's 10 minutes in length. 24 cars trying to advance on to the final 12 and have a chance to run for the pole. I would say right now you have to put the Penske cars as the favorite. They were 1-2 in that first 20-minute segment.
Let's go inside their office there and look around and see what's happening with these drivers. It's just such a wild ride, especially in qualifying. They've got to be up on the wheel, as they say, especially when you think about, Adam, that's about 190, maybe 95, getting down into turn 1, and watch this thing buffet through the corners.
High level of concentration for these guys, right?
You got that right.
Now, every one of these 24 drivers just made the one run, with the exception of Ryan Reed, Brandon Jones, as well as Drew Herring. Elliott Sadler made about another half of a run.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that 1.5 for him?
Yeah.
We'll see where we set the bar in our second round of qualifying. Daniel Suarez back across the start-finish line, 29.28, 29.57 for Darrell Wallace.
Big pickup for Daniel. Kyle Larson to the top of the board. Here comes William Byron. What can he do? Slowest of the 4 so far.
Yeah, he's the first driver, William Byron, to slow down from round 1.
J.J. Yaley slowed down. He's in 6th. Daniel Hemrick jumped up to 3rd quicker than what he ran in that first round by 1/10 of a second.
We'll know a little more here just in about 20 seconds.
This is the world's fastest car, and this thing is hauling today. I can't believe how bad he beat the competition that first round.
Tracking in the green, beat his teammate by like 0.4 of a second in round 1. And he's going to be slower here in round 2, but right now it looks like he might be fast enough to go to the top. Yep, P1 for Brad Keselowski, 29.22.
Yeah, William Byron's going to have to make another run if he's going to make the next round. Everybody basically is outrunning William.
Ode the presses here, Joey Logano, and that 12 car, he goes to the top. He's picked up 0.2 from what he ran, but again, Brad Keselowski ran so fast in round 1.
Matt Tifft made a run. He's 5th. There, Ryan Reed on track.
Goes 7th.
Justin Allgaier out into 7. One of the 3 junior motorsports cars that advanced. Michael talked about William Byron, who right now is 11th of the 13 cars that have made a run. Elliott Sadler yet to go out. Michael Annett, who we talked to, unable to advance. Let's see what kind of speed for Allgaier as he comes back. Tracking in the red, 0.3 of a second behind the top of the board. Good enough to put him 7th. Here's Kyle Busch in the green. Surprise, surprise. 29.13. He is fastest.
Picked up 0.4 from that first round. I told you things were going to change a bit for Joe Gibbs Racing as we went deeper into this qualifying set.
Yeah, he about spun out on his first run and still made the next made this round. So we knew that with an adjustment and a little bit of a regroup, Kyle would be much faster, and he was.
Brandon Jones, 6th. Dakota Armstrong went out 15th. 17 of the 24 cars that advanced from round 1 to round 2 have taken time. And on track now, the Dillon brothers. Austin going into turn 3. 1/10 of a second behind the fastest time so far.
Yeah, he's definitely flirting with a solid top 5 run here in this 2 car.
Austin at 6th.
6th.
That's flirting, Larry.
That was flirting, but it looked a lot better till he got over to turn 4.
Austin has a win here. Ty has a pole here. And Ty going to have a pretty good effort here in round 2 of qualifying. 9th. That's going to be on the edge, you think, of being able to move on?
How about Brandon Jones? He goes out in that first round and had to make 2 runs, and then solidly in the second round here in the 7th spot. That's a great effort.
But you're right, Adam. We have 4 more drivers still to put a time down. And right now I'm looking, I think if you've run probably in the 29, low mid 50s, you're probably good shape. No, you got to run down in the low mid 40s, I think, to be safe.
Yeah.
Ryan Reed on the bubble. Blake Cook 17th as we track the 0-0 of Cole Custer. He's won here in Las Vegas, just not on the 1.5 miles. Did so over on the Bull Ring years ago. Kid out of California.
What might be interesting right now, Justin Allgaier in a 7 is at a 4.93. Ryan Reed is a 4.94, who is 12th. 1/1000th of a second separating 11th and 12th right now.
Isn't that what Boyer missed the final round by yesterday? 1/1000th of a second. Holy cow.
Saw Custer go 18th. Here's Drew Herring in the red. One of those drivers that made a couple of laps in the first round of qualifying. He's 20th of the 22 cars that have been out. One that we have not seen. Points leader. Won a couple of stages at Daytona. Top 5 finish last week at Atlanta. Elliott Sadler in the one main Chevrolet for Junior Motorsports, and he's in the green. Now we're tracking against Ryan Reed, who is on the bubble. So Elliott just trying to put his way in the top 12 and move to the final round. As soon as he got down to turn 3, flipped over to red.
Yeah, same thing happened when he came off turn 2. He was good off 2, but you could tell it was pushing. Got up too high next to the wall, hurt him all the way down the back, and just barely misses with that run.
The 2 drivers I'm most impressed with, because they had to make an additional run in that first round and they're in the top dozen, is Brandon Jones, who's in 7th. I think he's in good shape. Ryan Reed back there made those 2 runs in round 1, sitting 12th, but that's pretty impressive. I think they made, we know Ryan Reed had to make serious adjustments between the first run and the second run. It appears Brandon Jones in this 33 car did the same.
Down to 3.5 minutes to go. We have not seen Brendan Gaughan yet. Remember, he had issues in the inspection line, so he did not make his opening round run until very, very late on the clock. Last of the 24 drivers to go out here in round 2. We'll see what he's able to knock out.
Probably the 2 biggest surprises, based on what we saw yesterday that's well outside the top 12, is Darrell Wallace Jr. and William Byron right now sitting back there 16th and 17th.
And right now, all the RCR cars in good position to advance. They're 4 for 4. Let's see if Gaughan can make them 5 for 5.
While he's running his teammate Daniel Hemrick in the 21 car. Daniel's sitting 10th, but he's pulling down toward the exit of pit road as we're closing in on 2.5 minutes.
He's going to have a lot of company down there. There's going to be some drivers that are going to have to go back out if they're going to advance. And the 2 you just mentioned, Byron and Bubba Wallace, they've got some speed in those cars.
Gone fast yesterday in practice, but not going to put up a time here that allows him to move on. 17th now. All 24 cars have taken time. Just over 2 minutes to go in round number 2, and some of those drivers that are on the outside looking in, going out to make a second attempt, see if they can jump into the top dozen and have a chance at the pole. Among them, local favorite Spencer Gallagher.
Yeah, we just saw Darrell Wallace Jr. in the 6-car leave, as well as William Byron in that 9-car, knowing they have to make another run. Under 2 minutes to go now.
Already established a new track record here at Las Vegas. Came in our opening round of qualifying. Brad Keselowski breaking his old mark when he went under 29 seconds. No one able to do it here in our second round. Fastest so far in round 2, Kyle Busch at 29:13. And of the cars on track, Spencer Gallagher, Darrell Wallace Jr. in red, but William Byron in green as he tracks against Ryan Reed, and now he dips below the line, and looks like Byron going to have a hard time advancing. We'll keep our eye on him as he comes off the turn 4.
Closing in on a minute, Brennan Poole in the 48 car just on the outside of the top dozen. They're going to have to roll him pretty quick here within about the next 15 or 20 seconds.
Cole Custer hits the track.
William Byron actually slowed down just a little bit, so he's not going to advance to that final round.
A lot of action here at the end of round 2.
And even if you can't jump into the top 12, good run here, you can improve your starting position for later today.
And for stages, that's a beautiful thing, right?
Yes, it is. Opportunity to grab some of those precious points.
Precious.
Got to be by the start-finish line before the clock expires. No problem for Cole Custer as he rockets by. The same for Brennan Poole. Blake Cook able to get by the start-finish line. Dakota Armstrong.
Elliott Sadler, I don't know if he's going to make it or not in this 1 car. He's just now headed toward the start-finish line.
Hey, Ryan Reed's on the bubble, but he went back out trying to pick up some insurance. Time has expired in round 2. We'll watch all these laps as they come back around. Cole Custer in the red. He's not going to pick up. Blake Cook looked pretty good, and so did Brennan Poole.
Poole moves up to 11th.
Yes, that knocks out Ryan Reed.
Now, Elliott Sadler, we're getting word in the 1. He did make the flag, so he'll be able to complete that lap, but it looks like to me he has actually shut it down.
Poole knocked Reed out, but Reed came back around and is able to clock back into the top 12.
Wow.
Yes, sir. 200.
That was a wild ending to the second round of qualifying, and a great effort for Ryan Reed to come out and earn his position into the final round.
He said he has a good hot rod. I believe him.
Kyle Busch, fastest in the second round here at Las Vegas. Fun weekend for NASCAR fans in Las Vegas. It all begins this afternoon, 3:30 Eastern time here on FS1. Jamie McMurray in the booth with Michael and me making his debut as Jamie Mack. Look forward to that. Race day with Shannon Spake and the two of you, Larry and Mikey, happens at 3:30. And tomorrow, NASCAR's Top Shelf, 3 Eastern time, third opportunity for them to hit the track in 2017. We look forward to that. Brett Keselowski trying to go back-to-back, starting on the pole. Here are the drivers that move on to the final round of qualifying. And, well, just a bit of a familiar theme here. Kyle Busch was quickest, and Larry is pointing out the drivers that have more than 2 laps on their tires. What issue will that create?
She's getting hot. It could make a difference.
Justin Allgaier just missed moving on. In fact, no drivers for Junior Motorsports in the final round, Michael.
Yeah, it's surprising.
What do you have for us, Matt?
Well, Brendan Gaughan certainly had a lot of speed in practice. He was P1, but he'll start 17th. So can you compartmentalize the disappointment in this round as you make your 500th NASCAR start?
Yeah, you know, South Point Chevy's way faster than that. We got jerked with in tech a little bit, and when 23 cars don't make it on a certain device, you might want to check the device, not the car. But South Point Chevy's faster than that. I over-adjusted that round, which is what killed me. I thought we could go a little bit looser, and we did, and I made it looser. Congratulations. Thank you, Shane. I should listen to Shane more often and keep my mouth shut. So we're still way better than that. We're going to race just fine, and it's just as quick as it was yesterday.
All right, thanks. Chris?
Yeah, and Elliott Sadler's going to roll off 14th later today. Elliott, what more do you need out there?
Yeah, we were just a little bit too tight. I probably got the guys adjust on a little bit too much from the first run, and we knew heat cycles and always make these tires a little tighter. So we were just a little too snug to hold it wide open. 1 and 2 gave up some time down there. So we'll put our race adjustments in it, and we always race really well. Kevin always does a great job with this One Main Financial Chevy during the race. So we'll start 14th, take our medicine, and race hard from there.
Yeah, raced well last week. Started 22nd, finished 5th.
I was just going to say, Chris, he's ahead of the game. Had that tire issue last week in qualifying. Had to start 22nd. 14th today for Elliott Sadler. Let's check the schedule for the next 3 weeks for the NASCAR Xfinity Series as NASCAR goes west. Today here in Las Vegas, said it earlier, 3:30 Eastern time is when we are on the air. In fact, we're going to be real consistent as we make our swing through the West Coast states. Phoenix, 3:30 next week on Fox. That same time in Southern California, 2 weeks from now on FS1.
Another thing you can check is the box for wonderful weather, because it is perfect here in Las Vegas, and it's going to be the same way next week in Phoenix.
Round 1, Brad Keselowski, new track record. He was quickest. Round 2 went to Kyle Busch. What do we think here for the final round?
I'm going to go with Keselowski. I think he's got speed in that car. Probably made a slight adjustment during the second round that he didn't like, but he's such a professional, such an experienced driver. He's going to tell the team what he wants now and grab the pole. Who you got, Larry?
Yeah, I tend to agree, but I'm going to make it fun. I'll go the other side of the spectrum. I'll go with Kyle Busch.
And the pole time will be 29 what?
So now you're getting, you're asking a lot here.
Hey, come on. We got a little time to fill till this first car comes around.
29-27.
29-27.
29-15. And I tell you what, we better not take our eye off that 22 car Joey Logano either. He could be laying over in the weeds.
Well, if he's in the 22 car, it'll be breaking news because he's actually driving the 12. So
the 12.
Okay.
Joey Logano.
I knew what you meant, Larry.
I did too. But there are just certain people you can't let off the hook, you know? Any man that tries to answer trivia questions with a media guide deserves to have fun poked at him. Here's Austin Dillon. 29-31 for him.
Well, my 29-27's in trouble.
Not looking good.
I believe it's going to be a little quicker than that.
Here's Kyle Larson. 29-33.
Wow, these guys are so close together.
Kyle Busch, 29-09.
09. That's a little faster than we both thought, I think.
And Brad Keselowski
had it.
He had him until he exited turn 4.
Brad is second by 19 1/1000ths of a second. And here comes Joey Logano tracking in the green.
I think with Keselowski, the grip level wasn't quite as high as the confidence level.
Logano, 2-0 last year when he was driving this 12 car for Team Penske. Never ran an Xfinity car here at Las Vegas, and that green has turned to red, and he's not going to take the pole position away from Kyle Busch. Logano is third.
29.09 to 29.11. Kyle Busch over Keselowski.
Matt Tifft, another one of the Joe Gibbs Toyota drivers out there making his lap, and another guy that we can't take our eye off of. I think he's been fast all week is Daniel Suarez in that 20 car.
I was going to say that, and we know that kid is fast, and these Gibbs Toyotas have been fast 1, 2, 3 in final practice yesterday. Tiff's got a good lap going here.
And see Brandon Jones, that 33 car, tracking way off. I just think
his tires are getting tired.
Too many runs now. Just way too many runs to bear any fruit.
Hey, but he's ahead of the game. The fact that he made it to the final round when you consider what he dealt with early, a positive thing for him. Tifft is 5th. Brandon Jones, the 9th driver out, is in the 9th position, a 30.07. Here's Ryan Reed, who was in the top 12, bumped out of the top 12, and had to go back out, make a last-ditch effort to qualify into this final round. We'll see what he can do.
Yeah, I'm impressed with his effort, too, like Brandon Jones had to make that second run in round 1.
And I'm rooting for him. You know, he won at Daytona, and Michael mentioned the fact they didn't have the success they would have liked to back it up last week at Atlanta. But they feel good about this race car, and it'd be fun to see him come out and get something done today.
Yeah, I loved his attitude when we interviewed him earlier, and his commitment is there, too. We saw him about spin out and have to go back out and run again, picked up time every time. But I think kind of like Brandon Jones, the tires on Reed's car is just giving up.
Reed is 10th, Suarez to 3rd.
Yeah, Daniel was looking pretty good until the exit of turn 2, and that's kind of where the time started going away from him in that 20 car.
On board with Brennan Poole, last car to go out. Under a minute to go in qualifying.
Hear that thing bottoming out, just skimming the surface just ever so slightly.
Listen to that.
It's about like it would sound in the corner at Daytona. Wow. With about a mile less racetrack to work with.
That's crazy fast.
Poole is 11th. That pushes Brandon Jones to 12th. And as the clock is now under 30 seconds and no track activity, we know the lineup for what we'll see later today at Las Vegas. And for his 9th consecutive start at a 1.5-mile track, it will be Kyle Busch who leads him to the green flag here at his home racetrack and trying to win here for the 2nd consecutive season after he laid it on him 1 year ago. Talking there with interim crew chief Matt Lucas, and somewhere Scott Graves is smiling and saying, way to go, guys, you're going to try to win one without me. Let's hear from the guy that'll start on the front row with Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski with Chris.
Yeah, boy, just right there in that final round. Brad, that first round, you were half a second quicker than the field. Did you use a little bit too much up in that first round?
No, just everybody was sandbagging. You know, there's so much spread here in the field in the Xfinity Series that, you know, when you're really fast, you don't have to go hard in the first round to transfer. So I just like to go fast. So I just went as fast as I could go. And you saw everybody else sped up in the next few rounds. But, yeah, we were right there. Gosh, I think it was about 100th away from the pole. Then we knew the 18 car, he's been really fast. He's probably been the fastest car along with, I guess, it's the 20 with Suarez. But we're right there with both of our Penske Fords, and hopefully we can find just a tiny bit more, get one more spot and win with the Discount Tire Ford today.
All right, thanks, Brad. Matt?
Kyle Busch is one of the last three starting from the pole, and great run. They may have to do a bounty. Stellar lap.
It was a stellar lap, but the car was stellar too. It was pretty much perfect there for that run, so that was really awesome for this NOS Rowdy Toyota Camry. Obviously having some speed here today, this weekend in Las Vegas. Took us a little bit through practice. You know, we weren't quite right in the first one, but all the guys here, Matt and everybody, they've been doing a really good job for me. So looking forward to winning another Xfinity Series race here with another crew chief and having the opportunity to make it 2 for 2 on the season and 1 for 1 with our new beautiful NOS Rowdy scheme here that we got on this Camry. So it's going to be fast today. Thanks.
Adam?
87 career wins for Kyle Busch. 33 of those have come from the pole position, and he's trying to do something later today he's never done. Win in 4 consecutive starts. He's been in this position now 7 times. We'll see if he can do it later today. Our coverage begins for Xfinity at 3:30. Right now, we're going to the studio. Here's John Robertson, Race Hub.